If you're in your late 30s, 40s, and 50s with a demanding career or a business and possibly a family to think about, time has probably never been more precious when it comes to squeezing your workouts, getting some movement in, and managing your food in relation to your lifestyle. So in this episode of the Kirk Miller Podcast, I want to break down exactly why I believe at this stage of your life, you should be training full body with your weights routine. And this may cause conflicting views, but if you've checked out any of my transformations of the guys in their late 30s, 40s, and 50s, I know what I'm talking about. Because many of these guys have been trying for years to get in shape, but more importantly, stay in shape. Many of these guys have come to me with injuries. Many of these guys have come to me with, minimal lifting experience, but we create progress with every single one of them. The guys with the injuries, we brought them out of pain after years and years of, working with physios and doing different things. Because the biggest indicator of whether or not your current workout routine is optimal for you it's as black and white as this. Are you progressing as fast as you would like? Are you bored or inspired when you go into the gym, when you look at your workouts? Or are you feeling that you're struggling to get all your workouts in, maybe due to the duration of your sessions, or maybe the exercises within the sessions, create friction just because you can't always get on that piece of kit, for example. So I want to go through all of the problems of certain training protocols, but more importantly, get to the really meat of this episode as quickly as I can, which is tell you exactly what we do inside Built to Last to really optimize the time our clients have available to work out. Because just like my clients, at most I lift 4 times a week now. And for years, I was, told by so-called experts and sort of believed it myself that in order to build a world-class body, you had to be in the gym lifting weights, 5-6 days a week. And it simply isn't true if you're being really, really effective with, say, 3 to 4. Okay? So I'm going to tell you exactly what we do to create world-class results with our clients. Because the intention of the podcast is to really simplify the best way I possibly can what is actually needed to do that. Because I've spoke heavily on previous podcasts about mindset, about the importance of food, of course, in relation to building a great body. But you can have the most powerful mindset in the world, a strong why, a really, strong internal drive about why you actually want to build a great body and stay healthy. And you can have the best meal plan on the planet and be really, in control of your food, but it doesn't lift the weight. Calories, food do not lift the weight. Your brain does not pick the weight up. Your body does. So for me, if you're really trying to, solve this solution once and for all of getting in shape, staying in shape, how you train matters. And I really, really believe that full body is the answer at this stage of your life. Because over the last sort of 23 years, nearly touching 39 now, I really have done and enjoyed probably every workout program I've ever done. And, they've all brought me fantastic results at different stages of my life. And this is the key thing you need to, listen to with this podcast. Everything will have its benefits at certain stages of your life. But I feel so many people, as they get older, as, your body starts to sort of naturally deteriorate a little bit in terms of, elasticity with your joints, obviously age, just injuries, etc., just through wear and tear, what you did in your 20s simply doesn't work in your late 30s, 40s, and 50s. I've done training protocols such as, German volume, fantastic, built a lot of muscle, but it didn't give you the variety needed to, keep you structurally strong, in terms of like your glutes, your posterior chain. I've done, your standard bro splits, chest day, back day, leg day, hamstring day, all these different things. And yes, they served its purpose at that stage of my life. But, I'm a lot older now, and I've never been as strong or as lean or as fit, like pound for pound, in relation to where I'm at just now with my body, and I lift less time than I ever did throughout my 20s and even in my early 30s. And just like a lot of my clients, sometimes, you know, my time is even more precious, you know, where I don't have the full hour to get my workout in. This is very, very common in the guys we coach. You know, we sort of try and emphasize that with your workout routine, you need structure on a week-to-week basis, but it needs to be malleable, especially if there's some weeks where maybe you're traveling, you might have even more work demands, you might have even more family commitments. So you need to know how to adapt and make sure that you don't slip into this on it, off it mentality, which so many people do if they can't get their perfect training routine in, which, as I'll come on to over the course of this podcast, is a major problem for people's inconsistency with their workout routine. So if you are listening to this and you are inconsistent, or frequently inconsistent, if you were to break down, say, the last 12 months of your year and go, right, how many weeks was I in the gym? How many weeks was I out the gym? And if you've got, you know, more than a month across the year out of the gym, then something's probably wrong in the way you're structuring your workout programs. It just probably isn't sustainable or complementary to your personal, professional, and social lifestyle just now. All right? Because what I see as the main problems with other training methods is they create imbalances. There's not enough focus on glutes. Many training programs rely on too many machines. They're too long. Classes in particular, if you are a bit of a class, you know, group workout junkie, they create injuries because there's not enough attention to detail. They're simply not malleable. And they definitely promote an all or nothing mentality, in my opinion. And they can quite often be boring if you've been doing the same shit over and over again. And don't get me wrong, as I'll come on to when I share with you how we structure, you know, the framework of our Built to Last sessions, you know, there are certain fundamental principles with your workouts which, even for the next 100, 200 years, they're never going to go out of fashion. Because obviously there's a lot of you know, hype at the minute around being functional, you know, which, you know, sometimes I think is exaggerated. I think so many training programs and the new thing is purely a marketing tool to try and bait people in to create, you know, sell them the dream, of like, you know, the quick fix, the dream body in, like, you know, 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 12 weeks, which is complete horseshit. Yes, just like our clients, you know, you can see enormous amounts of progress over a 2 to 3 month period, you know, with the right training protocol, with the right food, with the right, you know, sort of lifestyle management tips, etc. But, you know, that's not going to build your world-class body if you're carrying enormous amounts of fat just now, or you're nowhere near where you want to be in terms of muscle mass, for example. All right. And another, like, genuine feedback as to whether or not your current exercise regime and weights routine in particular is effective and is what you probably should or shouldn't be doing just now is how many injuries you're picking up. You know, how are your shoulders? How's your lower back? You know, how often do you feel like you're having to see a physio or a doctor about a niggly injury? Because, you know, I've got friends in this industry who are world-class movement specialists, and, you know, the first thing they tell me, and I've told my clients, is the number one thing to get your body out of pain is to get strong where you're weak. And that comes from lifting effectively. And being super detailed with how you are setting up your workout routine. Okay? Because so many training programs, you know, are one-dimensional in their approach, and they don't factor in how your body should structurally be set up. Okay? Especially as you get older. So for me, what are the benefits since doing full body for me and my clients? As I've just touched on, I'm stronger. I find it easier to stay leaner. I'm more athletic. I'm fitter. I have less back and hip issues, even though I'm a lot older. And yes, I've had some serious injuries. I've had a bicep rupture from obviously thinking I was Anthony Joshua when I first started boxing, but that was down to a lack of mobility. And again, probably not being as detailed at that time with my weights routine around the boxing and the conditioning work. All right. But simply put, the key benefits of, doing a full body routine squeezed into your 168-hour week is you will achieve significantly more from 3 to 4 hours a week of lifting, basically 3 to 4 workouts. And it doesn't even always have to be, 3 to 4 hours. As we sort of, really show our clients, you can adapt your sessions very, very easily, from a full body workout program. They're a lot more malleable. And, even if you can't always get the perfect week's training in, you might be traveling even more than usual, even getting in a couple of sessions over, your week, even on a really extreme, like really busy week, you're still going to have hit, your whole body. All right. So they give you significantly more structure, but they're adaptable. And this is what you need to realize, as we get older, guys, is, you need structure, but you need to be adaptable. Because I used to really look at my workouts, especially in my sort of mid to late 20s. And if I couldn't do 4 work sets across every single workout within that week, I'd feel like I failed. If I couldn't do all of my sets, I'd literally think, oh God, that's it, I've failed. And the problem with that is if you don't get all your workouts in, and more specifically, if you feel like you've not ticking off all your sets, you can feel like you've failed. And then when you feel like you've failed, that's when that fuck it, I'm off it mentality kicks in. And what does that lead to? It leads to, shitty eating decisions. I can almost guarantee some of the weeks that you've gone to shit with your food, it's on the back of feeling like you haven't got your full training in. So it's this all or nothing mentality of, oh, fuck it, I haven't got the perfect week in, so you know what? I'll eat shit and I'll pick it up next week, which is just compounding that weight gain, that body fat, week to week, month to month, year to year. And you just have to be realistic at this stage of your life. If you have got kids and you are genuinely slammed with your business, and especially like a lot of my guys, you travel and you're in hotels and you want to, you go on regular holidays and do nice things, you need to be adaptable from that, that really solid structured base. All right. And a lot of my older clients, from doing this full body training method, as I've touched on, that some of the guys, one of my grade A clients in particular, Matt Clover, I'm sure he won't mind me mentioning him. This is a guy who is nearly touching 50. He'd been trying for over 25 years to, get rid of a back problem, through physios, chiropractors, osteopaths. And, he's bouncing from one to the other and nothing's getting solved. And obviously it was being made worse, his lower back problem, because he loves his biking, which you're in a crouched over position, okay? Which, although obviously he loves it, and I joke about with him, it doesn't do your posture any favors, especially if you've not got the right, lifting routine to support that, okay? But, just like many of my guys, by lifting full body properly, working the glutes more effectively, having more attention to detail with all the finer variables within your workouts, your reps, your tempos, etc. Within a few months he was out of pain, and he's never been stronger, he's never been fitter, and he's never been as quick on his bike or quick even when he's running. So even if you listen to this, for example, and you love your running, you're listening to someone who has had enormous amounts of knee issues when I played football, right? But if you love your running, or you love other sports, for example, and you're having lots of knee injuries, back injuries, then I can almost guarantee that a large part that is down to not having an effective lifting routine. Because when you have that, and you've got, the correct structure within your workouts, you will find that you'll run quicker, you'll bike quicker, and, you will prevent injuries. Because ultimately, and I've said this before on social media post, the most effective way for you to build consistency with your, just overall health and fitness and well-being is your workout routine has to be effective so you see progress. Because when it's effective and you see progress, you will not lack motivation. If I was to ask you, tell me an area of your life that you don't lack motivation, for many people it's career and business, it's because you're seeing progress, you're getting pleasure and a return on investment of your time, investment, work, etc. So you keep doing it. And I can guarantee if you had the same effective routine or system for your workouts, you would keep doing it. Okay, so it has to be effective. It has to be enjoyable, because pain will get you motivated when it comes to working out, but you have to have pleasure if it's to stick. Okay, and to do that, you have to have, enjoyment with your workouts. And of course, I'm not trying to say that, and I'll speak about this on a separate episode, that, everything has to be easy and smooth with your workouts. Let's be real here. Like, every single one of my clients train fucking very, very hard, but when you push yourself consistently past your comfort zone, and then you're seeing progress with that, that's when you get addicted and you have enormous amount of emotional connection to that habit and behavior of working out. And then thirdly, it has to prevent or minimize pain, as in injuries, joint pain. And if you're doing the same stuff in your workouts that you're probably doing in your 20s, but you're picking up niggly injuries, or you just feel like your body's breaking down, then again, it comes down to the way you're structuring your workouts. All right? So get into exactly what we do inside Built to Last, and how I would recommend you how I recommend you go about actually starting to try and explore full body workouts. Okay, so as an absolute minimum, I think if you're trying to build a world-class body, okay, in relation to your week, where you're trying to be strong, fit, athletic, powerful, you need to be lifting at least 3 times a week. Okay, on a rare occasion, as I previously said, look, if you're really, really busy, the beauty of full body is there will be the rare occasion where you doing a couple of workouts in a week is still going to tick you over. If you are genuinely high stressed and you're just thinking, God, I'm really overwhelmed here. How am I going to get my workouts in? Even if you're doing 2, you'll still keep your body sort of ticking over. But I strongly recommend doing 3. Most of our guys do 4. Okay, and I think, if you listen to this, if you've really been transparent with yourself, analyze your week, look at your calendar right now and ask yourself, like, where and how can I squeeze in, 3 to 4, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour workouts. And for most people, I recommend doing it in the morning before the world kicks in, business kicks in your family. All right. So first of all, I'd make sure that I'm getting in at least 3 to 4. Then in terms of the actual workouts themselves, what I recommend with full body is 3/4 of your workout at least should be primarily compound movements. And what I mean by compound movements is multi-joint movements. So big, powerful movements, because they'll achieve more in less time. They will not only burn more calories, but you'll experience more growth, strength benefits, and they're just much more effective. Okay, much more enjoyable. All right. So what I mean by compounds is things like, big squats, big Romanian deadlifts, powerful overhead presses, powerful horizontal presses, big rows, your deadlifts, just big movements, especially when time is really precious. And the way I structure our workout routines is always the first half to 3/4 of the workout is compound movements, because even again on a rare week where myself or my clients can't get all of the workout in, at least if you're doing the first half to 3/4, then you're still going to get the meatier workout, the meatier exercises in. All right. And then specifically from there, in terms of like type of movement patterns, and I'm not really going to talk about exercises too much. Think more movement patterns when you're setting up your workouts. And what I mean by movement patterns is always include a hip hinge movement. All right. If you've struggled with your lower back consistently, I can guarantee you're not doing enough hip hinge movements or glute focus movements. So include things like glute bridges, Romanian deadlifts, single leg exercises, bilateral movements, but just always make sure you include a hip hinge movement in your session. always include a squat type movement in your session. All right. And the beauty of making sure that you've got, more lower body exercises in every single workout is you're going to burn even more calories. You're going to create more output. Because remember this, the more output you can create, the more food you can eat whilst getting lean. And if you're listening to this, I can almost guarantee one of the reasons you've failed to drop fat and keep it off is you struggle to stay in a calorie deficit. And what's going to help you, eat more calories whilst doing that is doing more compound exercises, more lower body exercises, because you will just achieve more output. All right. You're going to naturally be a little bit hungrier. Okay. And then what I would also do is include 2 pulling exercises, because I think all of us over the years, myself included, especially when you first go in the gym, all you care about is chest and biceps. I mean, I look back at my old training protocol. I used to do, chest a couple of times a week at least. My back workouts were about 20 minutes. My leg workouts were probably shorter than that, and I'd always train abs before my leg workouts. So as you can imagine, my body composition didn't look too clever. Very rounded in my shoulders, very chest dominant. But as you get older, that creates enormous problems in your shoulder girdles. You will have shoulder problems. You will have back problems. All right. So include more pulling exercises, and I recommend 2 within a full body workout, and then 1 push movement, of course. All right, because we all want a nice chest, and and we want to look the part on the beach. All right. So you can, of course, include 2 pushing exercises, especially if you're working your shoulders as well. But that's where, isolation exercises are fantastic for your shoulders. But just to recap, I'd make sure that you're including a hip hinge movement, right? Romanian deadlift, glute bridge, or both. A squat type movement, whether it's a lunge, whether it's a squat, split squats, box step ups. Okay, do something which is a little bit more knee dominant, but compoundy. All right. And then make sure you're always including some pulling and 1 push as a minimum also. But just breaking things down even more specifically than that, right? And anyone who's followed me on social media for an extended period of time would know how boring I probably sound when I bang on about the importance of tempo, all right? Tempo, basically, timed attention with your reps. If you've been training for a number of years, or maybe you're relatively new to training and you're wondering why your body isn't changing, even though you might be going to the gym 3-4 times a week or more, I can guarantee you're probably just moving weights from A to B with the same pace rep week to week, right? Not only will it get boring, but it's comfortable after a period of time. And remember this, the way to see change with your body is you have to force adaptation, right? You have to force adaptation. Just like in business, if you do the same, you'll achieve the same. You have to keep raising the bar, right? And to do that, smaller details matter. And for me, having at least 1, ideally 2 out of your weekly workouts, which really factor in slower negatives, more isometric squeezes on the muscle, it'll create more energy output. It'll keep more tension on the muscle. And another benefit of more tempo work and timed attention work is because you're doing the reps that controlled, you will minimize the risk of injury because you focus even more on perfect technique. Because when you mix perfect technique with tension, right, and progressively get stronger with those 2 things, you don't give your body a choice but to change. And you just minimize the risk of injury because you're that focused within a working set. Okay. And yes, it is harder. I'm not going to tell lies. This type of training is harder. But when you do a hard workout and then you start seeing change from the week to week, transformation within your body, that's when, again, you'll have more pleasure to doing it. So you keep wanting to do it. And then when you keep seeing change and you keep associating pleasure to go in the gym, you're naturally going to eat better. You're going to feel better. And obviously this has massive impact outside of the gym, of course, in your relationships and your work. So vary your tempos, and at least 2 of your workouts, right, I would include slower negatives, all right? And what I mean by that is like even 4-5 second negatives. We've even done 6-second negatives in some workouts, within the Built to Last program. And then include other rep ranges, such as, your standard 8 to 12s, higher rep workouts as well, because it's a complete myth that you can't grow muscle and see change even from higher rep workouts. If you're trying to be strong, fit, powerful, build muscle, you need a variation in your reps, you need a variation in your tempos, you need a variation in your rest periods, and you need to, manipulate your exercise order. So a typical framework, that we do for our guys inside the program is we'll maybe have one workout which is really, really heavily focused on a really slow negative, with a superset principle. So it might be upper body, lower body supersets, or it might be supersets with the same muscle. So you might have a chest exercise into a chest exercise, ticking off 2 to 3 sets of that. Then you maybe move on to a back exercise into a back exercise, basically a pulling movement. Same with the hip hinge, same with the squats, all right? But we'll always have one workout like that. Then we'll have a second workout, which will be a little bit more volume focused, maybe a slightly quicker tempo, but again, maybe a superset or some form of extended set principle. So you're just getting more bang for your buck from in that session framework. And then there'll always be some a strength and power workout in the third workout. Strength, power, sometimes it's with slower negatives, sometimes it's just explosive. But these are the things that you need to vary to get you really, really strong without putting on enormous amounts of body weight. Because as I said earlier in this podcast, I've never been as strong at my body weight now, and I walk around between, say, 78 to 80 kg, but I'm squatting nearly double body weight with tempo. I could not do that when I was doing the bro splits, which was leg day, back day, hamstring day, all these things. And I've always trained fucking hard, really, really hard, and with some great training partners. And that's not to, paint a negative with any of the guys that I've trained with previously, but I've just made things better, more effective. Okay, especially when I don't want to have to rely on machines and and people being on pieces of kit in the gym. Okay, so with a strength-based workout, there'll always be tempo. There may be tempo, or it might be explosive, but there are variations every single month to month. And then for the fourth and final workout, I recommend, and this is what we do, and I recommend the guys to do. Especially, on a Saturday or a Sunday, whenever they prefer to train, or even on a Friday when you're trying to earn your weekend, we always have one workout which is absolutely brutal when it comes to extended sets. So it might be a tri-set, which is 3 exercises paired back to back, little rest and repeat 2 to 3 times. Might be a giant set where you're doing 4 exercises, one after another, right? Where you're lifting as heavy as you can on each particular exercise, with a rep range of anywhere from 6 to 8 up to some, as mental as 20 rep per exercise. But it really, really challenges the body, right? Stimulates the mind. And when you've got a workout routine and program that really challenges the body, really stimulates the mind, you don't give your body a choice but to change, and you will come out of that training week feeling a strong sense of accomplishment, really feeling like you've achieved something. Because how many weeks do you end where you get to the end of the week and think, oh God, I've put in the time for the 3-4 workouts or more, but where's the return on investment? I don't really feel like I've achieved much. And that is what you want to eradicate if you're trying to get pleasure, from your workout routine. Okay, so vary your rep ranges and tempos across all of your training week. And in terms of the exercises within those 4 workouts, because they're full body, and you're not doing a set leg day, a set chest day, a set back day, a set shoulder day, for example, you can squat multiple times per week. You can do heavy back rows multiple times per week. You can do multiple Romanian deadlifts, etc., multiple times per week. You can do heavy chest pressing, shoulder pressing multiple times per week, because you're not completely fatiguing one muscle on its own. But across the week, you're still going to get the volume in. You're still going to get the volume in and still complete the same amount of sets on each muscle that you would do in a, sort of single muscle workout, right? But what you're going to do is you're not going to be stupidly aching on one set muscle that, say, for example, your legs, right? And this is a large problem why I feel lots of people who just do leg days all the time, and they absolutely smash themselves on a set leg day, okay, which I used to do, is people who really, really struggle with their fat loss, and this may be you. If you're struggling to get consistent steps in, as a result of a heavy leg day where you don't want to move after a leg day, then that's a problem. Because remember this, you can be getting all your workouts in, right? But if you're struggling to get your hit your step target, then you're going to struggle to drop body fat, all right? Because it's got to be a combination of your energy out foundations, which is your training stimulus and your steps, which is going to create more energy output, which is going to allow obviously for that bigger calorie deficit. You need to create the deficit, and to do that, you need to move. You need to train, all right? And then just, again, because I want to add as much value and tell you as best I can, what we do within our workouts and what I'd recommend, if you are really trying to shake up your training, I'd eradicate machines. Because how many times have you gone into a gym with your workout program where you are intending to do, for talking's sake, pec decks, leg presses, lat pull downs, shoulder presses, whatever the machine may be, and someone's on it. And then you're waiting around, you don't know what to do. Or maybe even with your machines when you're looking at your workouts, because I used to have a lot of friction with clients in previous years. You're programming certain supersets, and the machine layout in the gym isn't practical for that, especially when the gym is busy. You're having to walk halfway across the gym to get a superset in. It's just not effective when your time is really, really precious. So for me, get momentum first of all with, dumbbells and possibly barbells as well. The raw default that we recommend with our clients when you're trying to build momentum with your sessions is, and you're trying to get as much done in a certain time period, whether it's 45 minutes to an hour, is use free weights as much as possible. Because the beauty of that, once you get yourself set up on a bench and you're doing all your presses, doing all your squat type movements, you're pulling, your shoulder presses, etc. Once you've set up on a bench, no one can sort of take that away. And yes, you might be hogging a bench for the whole session, but so what? You're going to get more done in less time, and this is why our clients change. And then what you can do once you get momentum with the dumbbell focused workouts is bring barbell movements in as well. So that's where you can just simply swap the relevant movement patterns for the barbell version. So for example, if you're doing dumbbell squats or dumbbell lunges, maybe you can include some barbell work as well. And obviously the beauty of introducing more barbell work alongside the dumbbell stuff is you can lift heavier. Okay? So what I tend to do with the way I set up my training week is on my strength-based workout, that's generally always barbell, but ticking off all those movement patterns. You squat, you hip hinge, you pull, you press, etc. So focus as much as possible on free weights, because another benefit when you are trying to structure a more effective workout routine with dumbbells in particular is if you're ever traveling, if you're ever in a hotel, on your holidays, they will nearly always have dumbbells. It's very rare you'll go into a gym in a hotel and they won't have dumbbells, especially modern day gyms. But the beauty of having your workouts more dumbbell focused is whether you're traveling or not, whether you're on holiday or not, you can still, complete your workouts. Whereas sometimes, and again, I know this created friction in the past with clients in previous years, you'd have a set workout routine for them, but then when they went on holiday, we had to adapt very, very quickly, or they really, really struggled and they didn't train because they couldn't do that perfect routine that they were doing prior to the holiday, for example. So for me, program free weights as much as possible, okay? And another, I suppose, final benefit of focusing more on dumbbells is they are supremely effective when you're training from home, right? So many of my clients who are ridiculously busy and they work 60, 70 hours and they've got 2, 3, 4, 5 kids even. If they have adjustable dumbbells at home or a rack of dumbbells and a bench, and you don't even need a bench necessarily because you can still do all the movement patterns without the bench, is you can still train like an absolute fucking machine from home with just dumbbells. So many of my greatest ever transformations were formed during the pandemic when gyms were not open. Gyms were not open, but my clients were like achieving genuine life-changing results with just a set of dumbbells and a bench at most. And now, obviously, the world's opened up a lot more. A lot of my clients now, they do a mixture of the two. Sometimes they'll train at the gym for more atmosphere, of course, and just to break the pattern of their week. But a lot of the time, alongside that, they will also factor in one workout as a minimum from home, especially at the weekend when maybe, you're just trying to get your workout in before you're trying to dedicate time for your family. All right? So that, for me, hopefully covers in as great a detail as possible, how you can start thinking a little bit differently when it comes to structuring your full body workouts. All right? Because having been someone who has been ruthlessly consistent now for so many years with my training, right? And why I believe that being consistent with your training is really, really important as the catalyst to start eating better, okay? You have to have pleasure, and it has to stimulate you mentally if you're to have that consistency, all right? You have to stimulate your mindset if you're going to, really have that consistency with your workouts. And to do that, you have to have a workout program that inspires you and it works for you at this stage of your life. Okay? Just like my food, I've adapted my personal system as I've gone from my 20s to my mid-20s to my 30s to my mid-30s, nearly touching 40 now. But I've still achieved the same outcome, which is, I'm in phenomenal shape. I feel strong. I feel fit. I feel lean. I'm working with niggles and stuff all the time just through wear and tear, but full body training has allowed me to really make sure that I still look the way I want to, but in less time and, in a more enjoyable way. I've never enjoyed my training more, as have my clients who've worked with trainers in the past. They've done the bro science, the bro splits, etc., chest day, back day, leg day, all that stuff. And now they've never enjoyed their training more, nor have I. And remember, ultimately, we have to enjoy what we do if it's to stick long term. And as always, I want to end with 3 questions, thought-provoking, as always. Number 1, really black and white question. Is how I am training inspiring me? It's a yes or no question. If you listen to this, right, look at the way you've trained the last calendar year or even the last month. Is how I'm training inspiring me? If it's not, I can guarantee that it's just a matter of time before you're off it and you don't go to the gym for a week or 2 at least, right? Number 2, have I changed physically as much as I would have liked in the past 6 months? If not, why? Of course, it could be food, could be lifestyle management, but if you've been training for 6 months consistently and you've been lifting regularly, been getting your steps in, and you've not saw the change physically that you thought that warranted and deserved, then go back to basics with your workout and go, right, what am I doing when I actually do it that doesn't really feel like I'm seeing change? What sets within my workouts or which particular workouts at the end of them, do I feel like, what was the benefit of that? Am I going to get change from that? All right. And then the last question, what is the one thing I would do right now with my training to start seeing better results? So based on the things that I've spoke about today, do you need to maybe just simply introduce full body? Do you need to introduce more of a certain movement pattern, such as your hip hinges, your remaining deadlifts, your glute bridges, etc. Especially if you're struggling with lower back issues, do you need to include more pulling work, for example, if you've got persistent shoulder issues? Do you need to include more compounds? Do you need to include more time detention, tempo work? Do you simply need to train with a bit more intent? All right, but there's always a reason. Okay, for every challenge and sort of roadblock, there's always a reason, but you have to magnify it. Okay. And one of my personal quotes, just to end this podcast, and I really appreciate your patience with this, and I've spoken with a lot of passion and intensity about this, and typically that's where I train too, and what we try and get our guys doing with their training. But quote, don't give your body a choice but to change. Right? I can guarantee having been in shape now for all these years and transformed so many people, if you are training effectively with the right exercises, week to week, month to month, and you're training with intent and you're getting progressively stronger and you're working hard, giving 110% every single session, your body will change. Your body will change. A lot of people have said to me over the years, oh yeah, but Kirk, it's your genetics. You've got great genetics. That's absolute bullshit. I love my family to pieces, but my dad, I love him to pieces, has never lifted weights, has type 2 diabetes from poor lifestyle choices just from his younger days. My mum's never lifted weights. Bless her, she struggled with her back, and my brother and my sister have struggled with their weight and again, never lifted consistently. So we come from the same family, but the difference is, I've lifted consistently for all these years now. From the age of 16, even when I was playing football, I was still lifting, right? And you can do things like Pilates, which I love doing, yoga, boxing, cardio, classes, but you have to lift weights and you have to do it properly if you want to protect your joints long term, okay? And you really want to keep yourself as healthy and strong as you start to age. You have to lift properly, okay? So don't give your body a choice but to change. But to do that, you lift properly and implement some of the principles that I've spoke about today. So as always, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. Please don't ever hesitate to reach out to me personally if you have any questions, more specifically about what I've spoke about today. Please, I encourage you also to, share this podcast with anyone who you feel would really benefit from the things I've spoke about today if they're just, again, feeling disempowered with their workouts and demotivated and lacking consistency, because I know this works. And my clients who are, in their late 30s, 40s and 50s will vouch for that too. So thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.